Hello, all, and welcome to another episode of Here to See the Shelburne. I'm your host, Nevin, and joining for what promises to be one of our more positive episodes, let's say, is Dunny and Collie. How are things, lads?
Evening, Nev. All good, yeah. Good weekend. Plenty of goals in the right end, not many in the wrong. So happy out.
How's it
Yeah.
going, lads?
How are you?
How are you, Collie? Yeah, it's going pretty well. I mean, some few days for the Reds, as you said there, Dunny. Both the men and women. But we will start with the men's win on Friday against Rovers. Dunny, I'm not sure. I'll start with you. I'm not sure if you were up there the whole game, but I went to the back of the Drumcondra stand. Sorry, myself, and I saw you up there with a few minutes to go, applauding off some of our players that were being substituted. They certainly deserved the standing ovation. They put in a great shift and got the result. We got a mixed bag of comments in, but I thought the lads, you couldn't fault their effort anyway. What a good win.
100%, yeah. Certainly the effort, unquestionable from every man who took to the field, I think. And yeah, we might sort of parse through, were we lucky? Did we deserve a bit of luck? Is this the luck that has eluded us at home for many games this season? Finally, coming good, but I think a lot of, if we are to say that we did earn that we did get a bit of luck, I think we earned it from just endeavour and not giving up. Good, good defending, and for me, probably a sort of a through line of Spiel to Wood to Meepo as being ultimately the sort of three main standouts for me who made the real difference.
Yeah, I think it was. I saw Wood, Meepo, and Cam all in the team of the week. But Collie, I'll put this to you. I'll put the first listener comment we have to you. Bob McCarthy, the best shite performance we've had in a while. Don't know if I fully agree with that, but it's kind of what we said last week about we probably wouldn't play that attractively against Rovers. We maybe knew that, but I knew we could get a result playing the way we've been playing all season. What did you make of it?
I think that's a great uh, way of putting it because
Yeah.
we had played far better and got nothing or scraped a draw. So to sort of play badly, which isn't quite true either. Two things can be right at once and wrong. Um, I I was speaking to Robbie McCafferty about this as well, and he was saying that like we sort of we set up to do a job and we did it. And
Mm,
we said this before on here, and I said it. I think that we're a team of contradictions, and I
right.
still believe that. I thought like we set up, we had a wonderful, as Dunny says, defense. Every man doing his job, and it's no coincidence that they scored when Mbang was on the deck,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that was the one time they seemed to have a free player in the box, and he took his chance, young Brennan. And apart from that, I think we frustrated him. And I was like, yeah, it was a good performance. But then I watched some of the chances back in the highlights back again. And I was sort of like thinking to myself, Rovers had an awful lot of chances and were absolutely hopeless in front of goal, which is quite uncharacteristic. Um, Yet I'm not willing to say we rode our luck because Rovers should just be better in front of goal. They weren't.
Mm,
Spiel pulled off some fantastic saves to keep us in the game, and then the ball wasn't stick. I agree with Dunny that there was that through the middle Wood, Spiel Wood, Meepo. It was good. I enjoyed how it worked. I think everyone knew exactly what they were meant to be doing. Unfortunately, I thought the ball didn't stick up front enough, and therefore it kept coming back wave upon wave upon wave of Rovers. It gave them a lot of possession, but when it did stick, we got two shots on target and we got two goals. And it's all about taking your
yeah.
chances in football. Even if you're watching the World Cup lately, sometimes teams aren't the best team, but they're scoring the goals and getting results or getting draws. And if you watch Cape Verde last night, it was how they set up. They frustrated, and I think we did the same sort of thing against Rovers. And, there's lots of different ways to win a football match, as Dunny said last week as well. And this was one of them. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, who cares whether we played good or bad? We got 3 points at home. Great.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was one of those games, and it's interesting you say the World Cup. I was only thinking that watching, I think it was Australia against Turkey, and Australia must have had 2 shots, 2 of them go in. And it was that kind of night for us. Donny, I'll put this to you. I went with 2 friends, and I said, that Caffrey fella, I don't know if it's going to be his night. He played a skew pass to Harry Wood, then he knocks in a header. And then I said, that Meepo fella, he's lacking fitness. And he takes the centre half on and tucks it away. It was just a great win, but I will kind of maybe give you some of the comments that came in, sharing the same sentiment from Steve Jones, Shane Kennedy, Dave Brennan, all the comments in the same vein of the form that Joey's subs are interesting. Jarvis on at wing back was very fascinating, and his confidence looks a bit all over the place, but that Dan Kelly is proving to be a great, I suppose, sort of utility player. Would you agree with a lot of that? We were talking about down the middle. What do you make of the width we were showing?
Yeah, I think maybe what upset people a little was that we kind of matched Rovers for short bursts in each half, where we were just as composed on the ball and able to play through the lines and play through midfield, and looked every bit as good as them for periods, and then that would go away and you'd be kind of, as Collie said, on the back foot. Things wouldn't be sticking, and suddenly you realise, Jesus, we haven't really gotten out of our half in the last 5 or 10 minutes, and it's starting to look like a bit of a rearguard action here. Obviously, the later the game went, the more that proved to be the case. It finished up with percentage stats of 25 to 75, which is pretty comprehensive. It was closer to 60-40 at halftime. We were just a little bit less than 40%, if I recall. But and when you have something to hold on to, by definition, they were sending goalkeepers up, they were taking off defenders and putting on attacking players. That's the nature of the game. And I didn't get too hung up on, look, all's well in Christendom when you beat the double champs, the winners of every league in the last, I don't know how many years, bar ourselves. And particularly with our home form, we spoke about it last week. We said there's every chance that we will perform, but what's the likelihood that a performance will necessarily yield 3 points? It might not even yield 1. So to do, whether you think it's a smash and grab or whether you think it's a rear guard action where we hit on the break, and look, again, not to toot one's own tutor, but we did speak about transition goals akin to the one that won us the game out in Pats, and the difference between playing against teams that have a go and put you on the back foot and commit players forward, that we've actually been able to use that against teams, and we've countered quite well. And I think you won't get many better counter-attacking moves than the 2 that yielded the goals for us on Friday. Exceptional moves. So look, I'm there's stuff in there for pig iron, absolutely, about like, should this person have gotten more minutes? Should the changes come in different orders, or personnel played in slightly different places? All of that has some merit, but I think it's kind of outshone by the result, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And particularly when we've come back off a break, and with the wretched home form, I certainly woke up feeling very, very good about life on the Saturday morning, and wasn't too. I'm still not too put out by the fact that we ceded a lot of possession, we ceded a lot of territory. The only 2 shots on target we had went in. I'm happy to take that for what it's worth. At this stage now, we've played Rovers 3 times. We only have to play them once more. It keeps a 8-game unbeaten run, I think, now going. It's another home win, bringing us to a whopping 2, but still, we've doubled our home wins.
Donny, this home form is unbelievable. 7 points out of 9.
We're on fire. And just the vibes, just to see people smiling and leaving happy, and the vibes on Friday were fantastic, as good, if not better, than they've been all season. I'd put them on a parallel with Pats away. but obviously far fewer supporters were dancing at the end of that game than there were on Friday. So it was great to see a big-ish home crowd of about 4,000 and a bit Shels get to celebrate a real proper win. We did enjoy the sort of last gasp one against Waterford, but against a team of Rovers caliber, it hits different than and in a Dublin derby as well. So I'm not gonna get too hung up on the changes and that kind of thing. I think that wouldn't be in the spirit of the result.
No, well said. I mean, we got it right on the night, actually. Collie, I was only thinking of you there. I think the first time I met you, we were giving out that McGinty wasn't the greatest goalkeeper in the world, and he didn't cover himself in glory for that goal. But I've been trying to think of a pun for this all day to say, has the dismantling of the Rovers defence and league race, in fact, opened up the league race? Because Bowes got a bit of a battering on Friday night. I thought Rovers were actually kind of missing Pico. We kind of joked about that last week. I thought they were. We go into this weekend with a Friday, Monday. We could be playing Bowes on Monday to leapfrog them with a game in hand. Did you like what you saw? Do you think we can build on this? You know, we've got Drogheda away, and it's going to be, if it's anything like the last Drogheda game, it won't be great to watch, but I think we could get 6 points this weekend.
I think we should just end the podcast now after that pun. just leave it there.
How has no one else ever realised that Lee Grace's name is Lee Grace? That's magnificent. I had the producers not having it, but I'll absolutely have that. That's Shakespearean.
You like that? Yeah, I'd thrown it out before and it went dead, but I'm glad you guys appreciated it. But what do you think? I'm jumping ahead now to the weekend. The game is covered, and
I think
weekend ahead.
Oh, I've lost my train of thought now. I think. What was your question again? Sorry.
It was just more about the weekend coming up. Can we? Yeah. It won't be pretty up and Drogheda on Friday, but I think we can get the win and then Bowes at home Monday.
I think
why not?
I think that loss in Tolka to Drogheda earlier on in the season really hurt the fan base, the club, the players. I think that was the lowest moment of our season, definitely, and one of the lower moments in Joey O'Brien's career as manager.
This is the 4-3 defeat.
Yeah. And one
of the last defeat at home.
And one of the lowest moments in recent history of Shels. And I'm not trying to blow that out of proportion or anything, but I think that was. It really was just like, what the hell was that? So, if having beaten Rovers, we go into the next game and we don't come away with a win against Drogheda, the Rovers match means nothing again. And it really is that important that we go up to Drogheda and get 3 points, because we can't afford to even draw it. That's the way I look at it. I wouldn't worry too much about Bowes. I know it's a double header weekend. We don't particularly like them, but we experience them all the time. The last one went very well for us. The one before was okay. I just think it's all hangs on beating Drogheda now, who have been a real bogey team for us. That's how I feel. I would say that the commentators, when I was watching the match, because I wasn't at the match on Friday due to family circumstances, were giving out about Spiel had handling problems. And I sort of went, okay, he made one little handling error when he made a save, but he dealt with the problem. Players were dealing with the problems in front of them. And I think against Drogheda the last time, players didn't deal with problems, didn't take ownership at crucial times during the match, didn't manage the game. And that all has to happen now. It happened against Rovers. We've done it against Pats. We do it against the teams where you could say are up and around us or could be perhaps better than us. And yet against the teams that we are saying are lesser to us, we keep struggling. and it really, I take a lot of hope from Meepo's interview with Irish Football Fan TV, where he said Meepo feels like Meepo again.
Yeah, heard that.
I,
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny that he spoke about himself in the third person. But look, it's important. If he's feeling that confidence, he's feeling that there's something new in him. I think that'll drive on the team as well, because I do think he made a huge difference against Rovers, and I hope he gets the run out again against Drogheda that he needs, and gets them facing their own goal and running at them.
Yeah, for sure. And we will move on from this game in a sec. I'm very interested in the way we play now. We're halfway through the season, and I was probably getting too excited there with the likes of Catch and Bows, and then Pats are second, and they only have a game Friday. I was looking at; they're not actually on Monday, so you never know. We could catch up on.
There was another point.
But
There's another point. Sorry, just a bit
yeah,
catching up on teams. I didn't realize this, and we've never mentioned it like this on the podcast. But the commentator for the match did say that we have dropped 14 points from leading positions before the Rovers match this season. I was not aware of that statistic. That is really poor for us, considering where we were the last 4 years, where we don't lose leading positions. And one of those leading positions was against Drogheda. It's really important that we continue now to keep leading position, because we even when we lost the lead again on Friday, we got back in the lead again. You know, it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. But all I was going to say is that we know how we play there, and some of the lads I brought to the game, I said straight away, watch this Harry Wood fella, and they could see it straight away. And Ian Ryan got in touch. I don't think it's ex-Shels Ian Ryan, but he asked, is Harry Wood the hottest property in the League of Ireland right now? Do the lads think Shels will have to fend off big offers from clubs in the next few weeks? Dunny, I'll put that to you. I don't know if you have any goss or what do you think, but he's exceptional again on Friday, and like I said, people can tell he's maybe a few steps above sometimes.
Yeah, on either end of the pitch, for me, I sort of instinctively thought, Jesus, Spiel kept us in it with good saves, good dominance of his area, and then obviously Meepo made the difference, having taken a chance on and sort of rolling the dice on his own ability, and I don't think we'll see a strike like that from anyone else in the league. Probably as good off their weaker foot from that distance with no angle to work with.
Yeah,
it really was a special hit, but you do sort of forget about Harry. There was one period in the first half where he lost the ball, trying to do a straightforward enough pass, but then he hit the dog on him to go and win it back to get the turnover.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. And this is the thing where, like, he's become this all-round player. He sort of arrived at us with, he was more of a flair, not a luxury player per se, but you certainly wanted to see him in the opposition half, and that's kind of what his whole game was built around. And then, it was kind of, he went off the boil before winning us the league, and then, but this year, the maturity he's really shown and the maturation in his game overall is really the reason why I'm certain he will leave us, because he's become an all-rounder for me, that at this level, at any rate, seeing him do that against Shamrock Rovers, giving away a ball and not waiting on someone else to bail him out, or kind of doing the half jog back, waiting for someone else to pick up the slack. He does it himself, and he can do it himself, and he's more physical than he's been. He can, hold the ball up well if he needs to. His vision and his own confidence, because he's playing so well, and because he's obviously putting in the hard work, that the maturation in his game is so apparent. He has 6 months, I believe, left on his contract. He won't sign another one with us, I'm sure of that. So the case is really, how much of that 6 months do we get to see him play for us before he leaves, with our best wishes to wherever he'll end up. But all I'd say is enjoy him while we can, because I mean, every club in the EFL would have to be committing malpractice to not see that this fella is the bee's knees,
Yeah.
and like it's just not feasible mathematically that there are 72 football clubs from the Championship down, and then whoever in National League or up in Scotland would fancy him as well. He
and
will
he's
have,
English, so he could just pop home, like, you know.
yeah, like and ultimately, look, ultimately, he has exceeded anything that we could have hoped for from a lone player. And I don't want to do his kind of his obituary here now, but it is worth remembering. He's come and lit up even the season where he wasn't as exciting as he's been prior and after. He gave us that incredible moment that we'll never forget, in a season that we'll never forget. But he's kicked on. He's helped us get to Europe. He's helped us in Europe. He's kept this season afloat. The fact that we're even in with a chance of having a half decent season now is largely down to him. And frankly, and I had someone say it to me, and I hadn't thought about it this way. This season, I think we've let him down, because he's come here to do things. He probably could have gotten a move away sooner, and we convinced him to stay because we were going to go for a title charge this year, and that he could leave, as a champion again, or we'd be pushing for, furthering our case in Europe or whatever it may be, and obviously we've absolutely failed to deliver. And regardless of that, his performances have stayed at that elite level, better than we've ever seen. So I think it's an absolute pleasure to watch him. He is reminiscent of Wezo, as I can see here in the comments as well. And yeah, so look, it doesn't fill me with joy, but I think it literally is a case of you got to be thankful it happened, and accept that the end is coming pretty soon. I don't know what that end is going to look like. I don't have any inside knowledge of at all, but I think it doesn't take a genius to read the tea leaves and see what's likely to happen in the coming months, if not the coming weeks.
There's a few players, isn't there, now that are sort of coming to the end of contracts. I don't have a list of them, but you'd sort of worry.
I saw we had a comment.
We did have a comment, yes. I don't have it in front of me, but go on, Collie, yeah.
No, it was that comment. I'd love to know who it was, pointed it out, that we do have a number of players in and around the same time frame of contract length left. And it is a bit worrying, because ultimately, if you're going to lose players, especially that are talented, you want to be maximising intake for them, and you don't want to see them slip out the door. And I would say that it's a very tough position for the club to be in there, because players know their value, I think, especially in this league, and they know their agents work hard for them, I think, so it's.
I think we've come full circle from a couple of years back where we were really on the pig's back, and that team that won us the league, we started nailing down longer term contracts for basically all of the league winners of note and renown, and we were in a position where we had everybody on a 2 or sometimes even 3 year leash, from after that league winning position. Obviously, you try and capitalize when you're in a position of strength, and we were able to do that.
I think that contributed to the winning of the league, because players knew, I'm not going anywhere. I'm in this for the long haul. It creates that team mentality. They're all feeling secure. They all feel wanted. I'm not saying that that's not the case now. It's just a very different space we're in to where we were when we won that league, with the contracts. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, that's my those contracts are now coming to an end, basically, is where we're at. Obviously some of the players have moved on already, whether it be like Conor Kearns going on loan, or Mark Coyle just going on a transfer. But I did do just a sort of a head count as much as anything a couple of weeks ago, where I looked through our list of players on the website, and just saying, okay, well, how many of those are under contract for next year? Not a huge amount. The minority. I don't have numbers jotted down, but I was quite struck by how few we have under contract for next year. Now, look, we are still a good option, and we are still a club worth worth a player's time, and I don't think by any means that we're going to have some sort of mass exodus. The problem is if there's a sort of a player brain drain from the top end. The reality is we won't be furnished with a huge amount of time to counter that. I would suggest offers come in, and if the window's open, the player has 6 months left, and if the offer is one that appeals to the player, you can't really fight the player for it. And I know we don't want to be a club, particularly for those maybe coming from abroad, or those who are looking to get abroad, whether domestic or otherwise. We don't want to be seen to be standing in anyone's way. So if an offer comes in and it's in good faith, and everybody's kind of held up their ends of the bargain to that point, I think we want people to feel that you can come to Shels, and if you do your stuff, then you will be sent on with good feelings to the next port of call, whether that's the UK or whatever it may be. So I don't think we're in the business of standing in players' ways. And hopefully that might get us in some good graces to maybe squeak another month or a few weeks out of something whereby we can maybe try and plan to replace the player that is on the way out, that kind of thing. But it does feel that we're probably on the cusp of hitting a transfer window that's going to be quite reactive on our end rather than proactive, I would say.
Yeah, well said, Dunny and Collie. What I'm getting from that is we hang on to Harry Wood and we go on a run and we win this league. And who knows who will come in? Who knows who might stay? And that was Fran Sherwin, by the way, who got on with that comment, lads, regular contributor. So thanks for putting that in the back of our minds, Fran. Okay, let's keep some positives going, especially on the pitch. The women's team were in action on Saturday. Great 3-1 win against Cliftonville. I'll be honest, I was a bit all over the shop, so I didn't see it, but I saw we got the win. I saw a few highlights. Dunny, I'll put it to you. Was it a comfortable enough win to get us into the semis?
The first half, certainly. If I could, if you'd allow me a bit of camera one time here for a second, lads.
Absolutely.
I had thought this over the weekend, because I was there Friday and I was there Saturday. And between both days, we brought the niece and nephew on Saturday to the women's game, and I had some former students of mine come to the match on Friday night. A couple of them hadn't been in Tolka Park before. They're still only in 5th class, like I taught them in 3rd. But there was a parent who came along with them. So I had a lot of people in tow with me over the weekend, including a pal, a grown-up pal. So I was running all over the gaff on Friday night. But I've been kind of subconsciously, and maybe this might start ringing bells with people as I get into it, but I feel that the joy and the simplicity of sport and what sport should be about is, and I know I'm preaching to the converted, is available at Tolka Park. And this weekend really went a long way to showing that to me. I was just... I was going through some other sports and stuff that driving around, you hear mentioned on the radio, the Irish Open coming in golf in September, starting on my birthday actually, at Trump Doonbeg International Golf Links. I know Live Golf has been a contentious thing there since 2021, which is run by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. So golf has gotten quite icky, I think it's fair to say. There's certainly culture wars happening around that sport. Boxing, a sport that would be nearer to my heart. Riyadh season was launched in 2019 and is fronted by Turkey Al Sheikh, who, if you have any passing interest in the big boxing events of the past few years, you'll notice that he and his cronies are always sat ringside and are pushing the Riyadh season and the sort of their worldview on all of the largest boxing fights that basically have happened, and co-promoters who would not normally co-promote have been co-promoting with Turkey El Sheikh and his promotion. So again, boxing has never been a clean sport, but it's about as icky as it's ever been right now, with oil states and so on, with dubious human rights records, and beyond that, now deciding who's fighting where and when, oftentimes in Riyadh in front of a handful of people who don't seem to have much interest in the fights. The UFC, which is effectively a synonym for MMA these days, as it's basically a total monopoly on the sport of mixed martial arts, had their first ever, I think, fight card on a Sunday. They moved it from their usual Saturday to a Sunday for a card that they called UFC Freedom 250, which took place on the White House lawn on Donald Trump's birthday, and that's why it was moved to a Sunday. Now they claim it's to celebrate, and the tact that they have, UFC Freedom 250 as the title, it's like literally makes my bones cringe. But they had Donald Trump and his, basically the who's who of the Epstein files were sat ringside or cage side, watching these gladiators give each other CTE for his benefit on his birthday. So again, that's a sport that I would have enjoyed. That's increasingly harder to enjoy, I would say. And then look, I'll finish with football, and whether that's Premier League fatigue that I know a lot of people are suffering from because of, again, nation states owning football clubs, oil money, dubious human rights behind the scenes, just the constant nature of it, and the fact that there's probably too much football, overinflated ticket prices, wages have obviously been insane for a long time. Kickoff times being moved without any thought for the traveling fans and so on. Then obviously you got the World Cup going on right now. The previous two World Cups in Russia and Qatar brought their own problems. Obviously Russia are in the middle of a war right now, as are the current hosts, USA, Qatar themselves. There was issues about obviously their anti-gay stance, their anti-women's rights, issue with migrant workers having their passports stolen where they were building the stadia, people who died on the sites and so on. A lot of obfuscation going on there. And now, obviously, you're seeing some pretty naked racism from those in charge in America, turning away referees, subjecting the Senegalese team to, to acts that that shouldn't have happened on the runways, in the glare of media and cameras, and other things, obviously, about the Iranian team and all the hoops they've had to jump through, and all the rest of it. And that's not even to get into Infantino and the price gouging and whatever. And of course, then at home here, even with Ireland, Israel, it's turned into a culture war, and I don't think anyone's terribly happy with the resolution that's come about there. But this past weekend in Tolka Park on Friday and Saturday, you do not have to worry about it being icky in any way. You do not have to worry about oil money. You don't have to worry about nation states or sports washing, or it really is. And I just feel that we're kind of getting squeezed as consumers of football and people with an interest in competitive sports, and hopefully some sort of moral compass, whereby, like, where is our space anymore? Where is the space where you can feel a part of something and not have to sort of suspend your disbelief or park some of your morals to be like, I know I don't agree with that, but I do like the sport of this. It's a shame it's happening there. It's a shame that guy's been accused of all these things prior. It's a shame that these people are financing it. We are at a time where League of Ireland football, as in my lifetime, has obviously never been as popular. Shels are in a position which we've spoken on multiple times now, regarding the stadium, regarding our home, regarding our fan base, regarding our competitiveness, haven't been this good in a long, long time. And the just pure joy, which was unadulterated in the truest sense on Friday, bringing these young supporters to the match and seeing them wanting to stay until the 95th minute, or when the ref finally blew the whistle, didn't want to head off early and beat the traffic when the board went up, because they were absolutely invested in this game, to see the home fans thankfully get something big to celebrate. And then even on Saturday, it's a much smaller, the crowd was 297, whereas the crowd on Friday was 5,515, I believe. So a big difference, too big. And look, that's something for another day. But the 300 or so people who were there, and I brought a young boy and a young girl, absolutely loved it. Got to meet their heroes after, got photographs taken, got the sticker thing, brought them up to 6 stickers, so they got to go in and get a little free pin badge, which they thought was amazing. They got to choose between all the pin badges that they like, something that they'd earned from coming to these games previously. They got their stickers on the sheet signed at the end of the match. They got photographs with Avian Clancy, an Irish international, and Pearl and other players who are always so super accommodating, with all the kids and young people who come and take the time to express express their interest in the team and in the club. And I think it just is worth maybe taking a moment, and I apologize for hijacking the broadcast, but in a world where it's increasingly difficult, I think, to separate the uncomfortable nature of a lot of sports and things that are behind professional sports in particular, I really feel that we've got something very, very unique, very, very special here. Not just at Shels, but particularly at Shels for me, obviously, that we shouldn't take for granted. And that as the rest of the world kind of seeps in around us, and it feels like this space is getting smaller and smaller, I just urge everybody to enjoy it for the last bastion of real humanity in sport, where you don't have to be concerned about where the finance is coming from, or what does that mean, or lawsuits, or people up in court and this kind of stuff. And I feel blessed to be a part of it. And this weekend was just a real victory for the soul, and a real victory for the good people still there in sport, I feel. And yeah, I just wanted to put that on the record. Shels were very good against Cliftonville for large parts. Dropped off it a little bit and made it a bit nervy, but a late goal from Becky Watkins basically put the icing on the cake, and we got through for a nice tasty cup semi-final now against Bows at Tolka, which I think whets the appetite quite well.
Absolutely, Dunny. And I didn't think a question on an All-Ireland Cup quarter-final against Cliftonville would have brought such a incredible answer. I really enjoyed that now. I actually did, because I was only listening to the other Shels pod the other day. I think it was Barry Crossan was on saying something about bringing someone to Tolka Park, and they were blown away by the old school 90s vibes of it. And I always thought to myself, why do I not have a problem with VAR when I'm watching football on TV? It's because it's not a Tolka Park, and you don't get that either. If I don't really have a problem with it, but some people might enjoy that kind of old school vibe of it. Collie, would you agree with a lot of that? And are you happy with the draw we got? We're playing Bows in the semis.
Yeah, I agree with what Dunny said there. I didn't think the podcast was going to take this direction tonight, but that's okay.
I love it. Yeah.
I guess I see football, even at its lowest emblems, is political at times, whether we want it or not to be. And I do think, though, League of Ireland is probably one of the pure bastions of football that's left in the professional era. And yeah, I watched the women's game. I thought it was a disappointing turnout but I can't really complain because I wasn't there myself. I watched it on the League of Ireland website, and I did have a question to ask whoever was there. what the attendance was like for that particular match. You've answered that now. It just seemed quite low, but obviously Cliftonville may not have brought anyone at all.
Yeah, I don't think they did, Kylie. And I just see the producer saying that Tolka is looking great. By the way, at the minute, it absolutely is. One of the girls actually. I walked her past the Drumcondra stand at one point in the second half, and just that's she was getting some of the sort of the sounds from a very very full Drumcondra stand, and then spilling over from the riverside as well. And she just kind of stopped and looked around, and she's like, "Wow, it really is just so real." I
Yeah.
know she was struggling for an adjective. And she said, now this is a girl who would have actually been to some games up in Finn Park before because her family are from that neck of the woods. So it wasn't her first ever game or even first League of Ireland game, but just the sort of verve and the vibrancy and the colour and the noise and the flags and everything, and just Talcott looking so nice these days as well with the Drumcondra stand open really does add to it. And I think maybe when it comes to smaller numbers, particularly on the TV cameras, we did have people in all four sides of the ground on Friday and Saturday. But the difference was we had over 5,000 at one and we had about 300 at the other. So I know we sat in the Drumcondra stand for the second half because I wanted to show the kids the view, and they were really really taken by that. So I know it's a bone of contention maybe going forward about should we or curtail people's um, ability to walk freely around Tolka on a Saturday if we want the TV product to look better. There's pluses and minuses there, I think, but I wouldn't be shocked because as Cliftonville didn't bring anybody.
I'm really surprised at that because it okay. So my family circumstances were Aoife, my partner, had an operation, and she had to go up to Derry, so I ended up in Derry on Friday night. But the next day, I came in my Shels jersey to collect her, and the nurse said, "Oh, Shels." So she was her daughter plays in goals for Derry City, and I said, "Oh wow, that's brilliant." I said, "We're playing Cliftonville today," and she goes, "All right." And so we were talking about Shels. We were talking about Derry beating Bows 4-1, and then we were talking about her daughter and her goals. She's doing the equivalent of her leaving cert this year, and she would hope to give professional football a go. And she was saying that really for her to excel and get to the national team in Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland, really she needs to be at Linfield or at Cliftonville. They're the two teams up there.
Right.
And so I was taking that away, going, all right. And then I said, well, maybe someday she'll play for Shels or something like that, because I think we're the best in the south in general. And she was like, yeah, maybe. She goes, I think she'd like to stay closer to home at the moment. So if she's not playing for Derry City, she'd look at Cliftonville or Linfield or whatever. And she was leaning towards Cliftonville for obvious reasons. But I was surprised then to see that if Cliftonville are at the pinnacle, that when I turned on the TV to watch the match later on that day, that I found very few following the women's game there. But that's obvious. Look, they're in a different space to us. I do think it was just something about the All Ireland Cup. I hoped that it would grab teams and followers from the other league as well a bit more than it has. I think we as a club, and I think Bows have got behind it a bit more. It's probably bad for that competition that Peamount progressed instead of Rovers, although I'm delighted that the game changers didn't change the game again. You know what I mean? But like, it's interesting. And then, yeah, I see our producer saying Cliftonville were missing a few players. They're international players. They're missing 3 of them at least, I think.
Right.
So
Yeah, I don't know, was that enforced upon them or that was intentional, but that was noted on the day, all right, that some of their more high profile players were completely absent. So I don't know, was that a diktat that came down from upon on high, and they were told to not play them, or whether they were sort of, I don't know, were they just not taking the competition massively seriously?
I don't
I
know,
think
because I feel that, like, the game itself, I wouldn't disrespect Cliftonville by saying we never had to get out of second gear, but we definitely had to go through the gears, but we never had to hit top gear. I always felt we were comfortable.
yeah.
But other than that, for those brief few moments where Cliftonville did get a quite good goal, I thought we were kind of soft. But, like, it is interesting. I'd have liked to have seen them play those players to see what would have been against us then. It's a missed opportunity, I think, for that competition.
It certainly is for them anyway. But yeah, it gave us Harcourt started only her second ever senior game, and she won the penalty, of course, in the first half, which was dispatched for the first of Clancy's 2 goals.
She was everywhere, wasn't she?
Yeah, and again, direct, a good, strong running style. Not the finished product, incredibly, at 15, but still a little bit of learning left in her yet. But very exciting, and again, getting more minutes. She got just over an hour, I think. Yeah, 66 minutes. Bree Severance came on for her, so that's that's really, really valuable stuff for her at this age, and being able to directly contribute to the scoreline. And she was one of our more potent players every day. Kate Mooney not in the squad. Unfortunately, I did see her grabbing a coffee before the game. In training gear, I didn't want to bug her, but she wasn't doing any rigorous warm ups or anything like that. But maybe this is a case of not trying to risk anything for an All Ireland Cup game when we've got another week now to prepare for Sligo on Saturday before a trip to Athlone the following Saturday, which I think might be on TV, because I noticed the kickoff time is at just after 7:30, I think. So,
sorry, do you know, is there any chance of that being moved? I saw the semi-final down for that weekend, ending the weekend we're meant to be playing Athlone. I'm putting you on the spot. Sorry, maybe you don't know. I'd be amazed if that Athlone game was moved. Such a big one.
Yeah, that's obviously you can't plan as to who's going to end up in the semis or the final. I know the final is slated for the day after we play Kerry. The men's team play Kerry in the cup. Hopefully we're in it, of course. But yeah, I'm not sure. You'd imagine that if there's a game that's been designated live for TV and it's 2 of the top teams going at it, they might just find a workaround for a bye week or for a midweek fixture. It's 2 Dublin teams playing in Dublin.
Yeah.
Would it be a terrible thing to do it on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night or something like that? But our producer is saying that the Athlone game might have to be moved. If so, there going to be pluses and minuses to that. You might, no more so than with Kate Mooney. If you got her another week, I'm kind of wishing my life away here with the Kate Mooney stuff, and just hoping that she'll come back. And then, of course, the pressure straight on as to, well, can she start scoring? But I feel that that's alleviated somewhat if we have Harcourt chipping in with some stuff now. We had Maeve Walmer came on for about a half an hour or so as well on Saturday and looked lively enough. So, and obviously Bree is still there working away. So hopefully we're still chipping in with goals from midfield, as all 3 goals came from midfielders. Once again, that is kind of we've been singing this tune since the start of the season. That's really where the goals were likely to come from, and that continues to be the case. So as long as they keep going in 2s and 3s, I don't mind. But yeah, we'll keep the listeners posted on when that's finalised. But that's obviously something that's in flux now.
Yeah, whenever we hear, I'm seeing the first weekend of July the women have no game down, so something's going to be moved down unless I've missed something for that weekend. Anyway, look, they've Sligo this weekend. I think we mentioned last week after that is the 1895 Trust 30-year anniversary of the FAI Cup final. So you can make a day out of that if you fancy going. But yeah, best of luck to the girls that weekend. And as we said, we'll keep you posted on the following weekend against Athlone. Lads, I might move on just a bit of a AOB, if you will, if you're happy enough. Just a couple of things that happened. That Celtic game, the tickets did go on sale in Tolka Park. I just thought it was funny because we were saying how great Tolka Park is. It probably wouldn't apply to me to all League of Ireland stadiums. And my girlfriend actually said to me, she goes, isn't it great that you're going to get a big team now in Tolka Park going, I felt that Palace game in Tala, any Rovers fans listening, I'm sure they're not, that just didn't do it for me. I always just hated that wasn't in Tolka. It's only a friendly. It's only on a Tuesday at 6 p.m, the 7th of July. But I kind of got a bit more excited about it. I don't know if you lads got tickets or not.
Callie, I'll let you lead off on that one.
I have a ticket for myself and my dad in the Riverside.
Good man.
So straight away I said the tickets were on sale. And he said, oh yeah, put me down. So we both got a ticket. We'll go. I will be following Shels. I'd say my dad, being a Limerick man, will probably follow Shels too. I think my mum and dad are from Cork and Limerick, and yet they're Shels fans because they never followed football when they were down in Munster. It was always GAA, hurling, and rugby. So they are Shels fans. But we do have a soft spot for Celtic, but it'll be purely Shels. When that match takes place, we were having a conversation in my own WhatsApp group about it, and someone mentioned that the take-up of season ticket holders is around the 1,700 mark. I don't know how true that is. For season ticket holders to take up that against Celtic, I don't know how general sales are going, but I don't know if that's good or bad where we're at in this climate. I think the game, maybe we got an opportunity to do this and we've taken it. But I do question the marketing around it a little bit. I question that, like, we got the email the day before the tickets were to be launched for sale for the season ticket holders. I think season ticket holders need a little bit longer time on the run into these things to know where they are financially, especially when Europe is just around the corner. We have the draw today and tomorrow for European matches. And I don't know about you lads, but I'm thinking if I'm to get away for a European match, I got to be looking at where that draw is first financially, how that impacts me. And then another €30 on top of what could be quite expensive for a friendly. It probably leaves some season ticket holders going, I'll just wait now and see who we draw in Europe before I go buy a ticket for what is a glorified friendly. I
mean, it's not even glorified, is it? It's just a friendly.
Maybe. Like, I think Celtic fans would be more into it than ourselves in some ways. I really do. As I said last week, I don't think Shels fans have a fondness for Celtic like maybe other Irish people do in general.
As some do, there's definitely a Venn diagram where there's big Celtic fans in our support, and I'm not just talking about Conor Lacka, and the actual week to week followers who live in Scotland. But there are a lot of Celtic fans that I know are Celtic leaning people who would be.
Yeah, I'd be one of them.
Enjoying this. I wonder. I think the club might have wanted to get out the news to the season ticket holders a bit sooner, but I think there might have been some humming and hawing on the other end. And look, as with anything, with signings or with matches of this kind of nature, where it's a dual effort, you have to play ball with the other side, and I think we released the info as quick as we could. I assume if you're saying 1,700 is what you heard of the season ticket holders that we have, 1,700 use their ability to purchase tickets, which would mean that's 1,700 times 2 most likely, which is you're coming up to 3,500. Then I think it went out in Tolka Talks as well to say that our season ticket holders will get first refusal effectively. Then Celtic season ticket holders would. Now, I presume that's not all Celtic season ticket holders, because I imagine the Celtic season ticket holder group could fill probably most League of Ireland stadiums in Dublin all at once. So I imagine it's probably they have some platinum level or something where they might get first dibs there. But I know it said that whatever was left over following that Celtic and take up of their season ticket holders, there would be some general sale after that, assuming there's any left. So I imagine we wouldn't be overly keen to, if we've sold 3,500, say, to let them have more than that, and then to allow the rest of the general sale to go to whomever has the fastest finger first, I suppose, is the only way to do it. And yeah, I mean, our producer's saying here that they're Celtic obviously don't come cheap, you'd imagine. Cork got them last year, did you say, Collie, and put them down in Porky Queeve, where you could maximise that again, obviously over Turner's Cross. We want to fill Tolka, and hopefully we can get I don't know, could we, I know our official capacity now is somewhere around 6.5. Could be pushed out a bit higher. I think we probably could, maybe to over 7,000. If we work the standing areas appropriately. But yeah, I think it'll sell well, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of resale tickets and so on going around. But yeah, I don't envisage it not being a good day.
And I think it's a better day out than, say, going to Leeds and Man United and Croker, to be quite honest, because you have an actual Irish team playing. You know, I like that. I like that whole approach to it. I don't know how I feel about that the English Premier League teams playing friendlies over here in big state. I suppose it is what it is. But like, I'm always wanting to push our league and our club. So
I quite like the angle that the club have taken on it as well, of saying that this is a pre-European fixture for us.
Yeah.
I think that gives it a bit more sort of authority to my mind than just saying, well, this is, Celtic need pre-season matches. Frankly, we don't, but we need money, which has always been the way it has ever been when these fixtures have come since we've switched to the summer season, of course. But I like this a bit more, where at least it's like, okay, well, this is Joey's kind of, it's a chance to try something new or try different players or get his European squad where he wants it to be prior to flying out to wherever it is we're going to fly out to. And of course we will know where we're going this time tomorrow as we record. But on Wednesday afternoon, I think 1:00, if I'm not mistaken, is when the draw will be for that. So exciting times.
And say we do get Hibs, all of a sudden then this fixture is a great fixture because it's a team from the same league, the same country, everything about it. So, like, for someone that was totally against mid-season friendlies a few years ago, I'm very much warmed up to this. That's how I would look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. There can always be mixed emotions and reactions to it. I always remember a couple of years ago, I think we played Millwall in a pre-season friendly or a mid-season for us, and it was kind of a weird crowd at it. But look, it's not a bad game to have. And Celtic are bigger than Millwall, I guess. But yeah, anyway, that's on it. Being on 6 p.m. on a Tuesday on July 7th, maybe is a bit of an awkward one to get to, but I think I will be at it in the end. Okay, but moving on, another thing that happened, just a bit more housekeeping. We got Kerry on July 17th, which is the Friday. I was hoping for the Sunday, but then I realised that's the day of the World Cup final. And also I think the All-Ireland is that day. So, and then the Saturday would have been potentially for the Shels ladies, the All-Ireland Cup we alluded to. So Friday, that suits. Hope we can all get down. Hope you are looking forward to it, lads. Dunny, I know you said you're flying down.
Yeah, I got my return flight booked now. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. You are coming back.
Yeah, coming back, and hopefully coming back to an All Ireland Cup on Saturday. That'd be good. I could be handling the World Cup on Sunday, you said.
Yeah,
I could be in some heap come Monday, lads. But but hopefully a couple of positive results on the way.
Hopefully, yeah. Okay, so that's summed up, and the European draw tomorrow, as we mentioned. So, with all the housekeeping done, Dunny, I'm going to go back to you. Do you have a big announcement for us that you want to let everyone know about?
Well, I don't know how big it is, considering I've just been talking about world powers and behind governments and oil states and all the rest of it. I think this is quite small beer comparatively, but no. I just thought it might be worth flagging that at the end of the month, my time with the podcast will be coming to an end. For the foreseeable anyway. I think our producer let me know that today was the 70th episode all in, which isn't too shabby. Look, I've placed on the record before the humbling that a lot of the sort of feedback that we've gotten since Andy and I began this. We didn't know how it would go or how long or otherwise it would be, but it's kind of grown into its own thing, and I enjoy coming on every week to talk about something that I spend all my life talking about anyway. And it's been very enjoyable and very heartwarming to see that it's something that's become a bit of a staple and a commonplace event for many listeners as well. But the podcast will continue. It's bigger than one man, certainly bigger than me. And yeah, I can't say too much about the plans further forward. And what can we say about the future, says you. But I will be taking a break at the end of the month, as I said, and then look in the future, and probably not too distant future, I'll likely pop up somewhere. I certainly will keep going to Shels games, and I'll still be involved. But yeah, it won't be on this platform, but I will still be a listener. And I might be able to hurl from the ditch a little bit and throw in a few tricky comments for yourselves to knock around while I'm gone. But yeah, so no need to start bawling your eyes out just yet. There's still a little bit of water to flow under the bridge between now and then. We'll do a couple, and we'll react to the European draw, and there's plenty of games.
Yeah, we'll get a few bits covered. All right, go ahead. Yeah.
So there's plenty between now and then, and sure, maybe a change is as good as a rest for the listeners' ears. Maybe having a little break from me mightn't be the worst thing.
Yeah, here to see the Shelburne will still be here, but Collie, he will be missed, won't he?
Absolutely. Dunny, I think you've been great. I think when yourself and Andy came up with the concept, it was something that was really needed, and the fact that I came on board this season with Nev, I think it showed that we wanted to be a part of something that was, I think, really good, well produced to begin with, and we hoped that we could contribute to it. I hope that we do, and I hope people like what we hear. But I know that you will be missed. I'll have to up to my stats game now. I think that's the next thing, because you're always the one to come with the stats. So yeah, but I've enjoyed talking about Shels with you. I always have, and I wish you luck, whatever you may end up doing. And I think there's always a place for you to come back onto the pod if you want to give your opinions at another stage. And I'm sure you'll continue doing the commentary for the odd time that you're doing it. When I've heard you've been very good as well doing that, and it's enjoyable to listen to you.
Thanks very much, Dad. Yeah.
Wouldn't want to lose your knowledge at all, because you do know an awful lot about the club, you know.
Well, I'll be on the mic this Saturday for anyone who can't make it to Tolka Park for the game against Sligo. But yeah, I appreciate that. Look, I mean, I've said it before, I think, but when Andy rang me and we spoke about this, seems like a long time ago, but it wasn't that long ago at all. I had some sort of red line issues. We both sort of were coming from the same angle of what we thought was maybe missing in the discourse, and we had some red line issues that we didn't want to compromise on, and I think we've managed to stick to them, and that's probably why there's certainly more room in the Shellosphere for other podcasts, and it's great to see more and more pop up with different angles and a unique sort of take. we wanted to take it a particular way, and I think we've stuck true to that. And having you guys on board, we haven't changed. We haven't messed with the formula in regards to, honest talking, adult talk, not sugarcoating things, and trying to deal with things in the round, and not skirt around issues, and we've been given the facility to do that, and as you say, produced very, very well. And yeah, it's something I'm proud to have been a part of. And yeah, never say never regarding the future. I'd be proud to come back when circumstances align, perhaps further down the road.
Well said, Dunny. And no doubt we'll hear from you in some way in Shels circles. But we'll have the goodbye ceremony. Is that what you call it? We'll have the goodbyes in about 2 weeks. We may even get Andy back on to say a few words then. If any listeners have any questions or anything for Dunny for the next week or two, please do send them in, and send in all the questions you want in relation to Shels as well. Lads, I think that's about it. I'll just say to the listeners also, while I'm speaking to you, is rate and follow the pod like we always ask. Give us a following on the Instagrams, the Facebooks. I think that's all we have. But yeah, give us a follow there as well, please. Big weekend for the Reds. Drogs away Friday, Bows Monday. If you want to hear Dunny's voice on Saturday, he will be commentating on the Sligo game for the women. Sligo going pretty well, so that should be an interesting game. Lads, if nothing else, we can leave it there.
Yeah, hopefully a 9-point weekend between the men and the women. Now that'd be
Don't
something.
Get greedy. That would be nice.
Crossed.
Yeah, Collie, good having you on. Dunny, thanks a mil. All right, lads. Until next week.
Slán, lads.
Slán.
Up the Reds.